Hello, beautiful people. This is Marisa Anglade on giving you the tea on everything healthy. Today, we're going to talk about a young lady who I worked with who was not seeing her cycle every month. It was so bad to where the doctor had to put her on birth control pills. And even that didn't work consistently. She was referred to me by her boyfriend at the time. They were dating, and I guess he was looking towards a future with her, to marry her. And I think there was things that he needed her to deal with before I guess they take it even a step further. And so we got to sit down in a one-on-one consultation. And how I work is that I find out what is it that you're got going on, like what's going on with you. And I have my clients fill out an assessment form, a lifestyle assessment form, to find out what could be all the possible causes. Because we don't just look at the symptoms, we find out what can be the cause. Not just with lifestyle, but with emotional stress. And so that's the first thing I deal with first. Is what can emotionally, stress-wise, can be causing the health concern that one is experiencing. Now, full disclaimer, I do not share names or locations or any details that would identify the individual. But what I do, I share the story, because oftentimes when I share stories with my clients on a one-on-one session, especially when they are reluctant to talk more, I share the stories, and 9 times out of 10, that story might resonate with them, and they get that aha moment, how it connects to their health concern. So while I was working with the young lady, we were having conversations as to when did she first start seeing this issue? How old was she? How many years ago? And we looked at what could be going on around that time in her life that might have promoted this situation or this health concern. And so as we were talking, we find out that she connected what was going on with her relationship with her father. Now, her father had left the family and left to go to another woman. And as a young child, a young woman, she saw a young child. I'm not sure what age she was, but she was young. She saw how her mother grieved and was pained by the relationship between her and her soon, at that time, going to be ex-husband, or at the time ex-husband. So he left. And so that devastated the mom, and she grieved her mother's pain. And she became resentful towards her father for leaving their family to go start or take care of another family. So that severed the relationship between her and her dad. She grieved for her mom, and she grieved for herself. And so it also created a lot of emotions as she got older. It created resentment, anger, discontent towards her dad. But as she got older, she wanted a relationship with her father. She desired it. And before that could happen, her father died. So she never got to have that relationship that she wanted. It went from being angry towards her father to now depressed because of her father having passed. And so how she tried to remedy that is try to help out with the funeral. And when she reached out to the wife, her father's wife, she wanted her to have nothing. The father's wife wanted her to have nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with the funeral. So that deepened her depression and even had thoughts of suicide, is what she had mentioned to me. But it was all because of everything she regretted, what she didn't get to have, and what she lost. And we talked about how this part of her health concern can be remedied with forgiveness. And we talked more about that. We talked about forgiving herself first and forgiving her father even though she had passed. And if it took her writing a letter, writing it to as if she still had her father in her life, or just simply forgiving. And when we talk about writing the letter, it was like writing a journal. What she wished she would have told him. What she would have told him if he was alive. However she felt she needed to do that, forgiveness was key into her getting her health back. Because she now was able to connect some of her health concerns with the emotional stress and trauma that was carried in the body that would have affected her cycle. In addition to doing that, we also talked about making lifestyle changes. So of course, there was herbs that needed to be taken. There was diet that needed to be changed. There was a lifestyle regimen that she had to follow. But to be honest, the key part was forgiving herself and her father. After just a month and a half, she started getting her period without any aid of birth control pills or anything else. And from that time, she was getting her period regularly. So it was mainly the weight that she was carrying emotionally. And I remember being invited to talk at a women's conference. And I shared the same story that I'm sharing with you about how emotional trauma or emotional stress affects the body and how forgiveness can heal. And I was sharing this exact same story. And after leaving the conference, I think it was about maybe a month or so after, I got a phone call from a woman that attended the conference. And she said to me, "Thank you." She said, "I heard your story. And that story resonated with me because I had experienced not just the same physical issue, the same physical health issue, but also the emotional one." And so she said, after she had let go and had forgiven, she too got her period. Now, this is probably with no lifestyle changes, just forgiveness. I mentioned this story to you, how it is highly important to your well-being, to our well-being, why we must forgive. Even when it's hard, even when we don't feel like it, it is hard, because I can tell you 90% of my clients that I have worked with to remedy their health concern, it was mainly caused by emotions they had held in for so long. Excuse me if you heard any noise. And how the remedy was really forgiveness. That was key, to let go all that they had experienced that was real and painful. But even though it is real and painful, it doesn't make us feel better. Forgiving does. So I believe it's time for all of us to look within ourselves and ask ourselves, is there somebody I need to say, "I forgive you"? Even if they didn't say "I'm sorry." Oh, I have so many stories for you. So many stories for you. And if you are interested in those stories of healing and forgiveness, let me know by commenting below and how this story resonated with you. Until next time, let's be healthy, mind, body, and spirit. Bye-bye.